Everybody's here. Good morning, everybody.
I guess.
Bye, Hannah.
Bye, Hannah.
So yeah,
I don't think she could hear you. She pointed to her ears.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, geez. Hannah shall return. Victorious at some point, I'm sure. All right, gang. This is episode 155 of Gather the Nerds. I am Cav. That is Nick.
Hey, guys.
Church and Earth 2 Church. And Hannah's here too. And Milo's in the corner. You can't see him. So he's around.
What if she comes back as Earth 2 Hannah?
Is Earth 2 Hannah more sinister than Earth 1 Hannah?
Unfortunately, yes.
This is an interesting thing to
Maybe
consider.
not. What if we got the evil Hannah? I mean, she's always saying she's not evil.
Sure.
That's what a person would
When
say.
you say when you are evil. Yeah.
It's true. It's just like I was talking about, like, this is what a robot would say. Like, ding, hello. All right, so we got some stuff to talk about. We got some things in the news. Comic-Con stuff, some Bruce Timm stuff, AT&T making poor decisions. Sony's coming out with a Wi-Fi router that also plays video games. You've got new Spider-Man games, some Batwoman stuff, news from Batman, and a bunch of release dates that got pushed back. So, but not as far as you would think. And interestingly enough, we talked about something last week, and look what happens. It's coming back into the theaters. So, per usual, we speak things into existence, which is pretty amazing. All right. Where do we want to start? Do we want to talk about gaming? Do we want to talk about... let's see. Well, let's start with what started this whole podcast, video cast, everybody hanging out shenanigans, which is Comic-Cons. So Wednesday, July 22nd, the people behind San Diego Comic-Con are setting up something called Comic-Con at Home. It's going to feature panels, giveaways, news, etc. Basically stuff that you would get at Comic-Con, but they're going to do it at home. I've noticed Fan Expo's been doing the same thing. Wizard World has kind of been, strangely enough, Wizard World has been at the forefront of this because they've been doing their virtual panels and things like that for quite a while now.
Yeah, since like March, I think.
Yeah, I mean when they pulled out Perfect Strangers, like when they brought Balky out of retirement to do a panel online with I can't remember the other person's name. I just remember Balky. I was like, man, that's what they're doing. So they're doing. So I'm sure they're going to get some fairly large guests and stuff as they normally would. I figure Kevin Smith will show up at least once or twice in order to do that. So. It's so Fan Expo is doing something. I think it's Fan Expo is doing something with John Barrowman, a live panel with John Barrowman. I mean, John Barrowman is something to behold in person. I can only imagine what he's going to be like, online. So it's all completely free. No limits on who can attend. I know some people are doing with like the John Barrowman panel that's going on. You can do free tickets. Basically, I think they're giving you the option to buy tickets, but the tickets are free. But during the ticket buying process, you have the option to donate to a couple of different causes and things like that. And so that's, I think, what a lot of people are doing. So, Hannah.
Hi. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Are you okay? We were debating this while you were gone. Are you Earth 1 Hannah or Earth 2 Hannah?
Earth 2.
Earth 2. Okay, is Earth 2 Hannah? Was that the nicer of the two?
I don't think any of them are nice.
So if you look at the Arrowverse, Earth X Hannah is the nice one because that's the evil universe. Every other one is sinister Hannah. So you're the one good person on Earth X. I like it.
Aww.
So We were just talking about San Diego's doing an online Comic-Con. San Diego's getting into the online Comic-Con business. I say business, it's free. But this might be some very interesting things like because we talked about how Wizard World is doing it and things like that. Fan Expo is doing something with John Barrowman here in a couple weeks. So yeah, it should be pretty fun. I wonder if they're going to get any big announcements or any big trailer drops or anything like that. I mean, could we see our first Batman v Superman, our first Justice League HBO Max trailer at Comic-Con at home? Could that happen? I don't know. It's possible.
It'd be kind of cool if they did that.
Sam asked where we're all going. I don't know. I feel like we could all fit in the car.
Yeah.
So we just got to watch out for that internet traffic. So
I think it's pretty cool considering how big San Diego is that they're giving it for free. I mean, pretty neat.
That's what most of us partake the content anyway, is watching the panels online and the big announcements. And studios still have stuff coming out. I think it's great for them to still say, hey, here's the day of the week, and here's when all the information is going to come out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Especially San Diego. Like my Chronicles of San Diego, I've chronicled them in full detail. I have struck out so many years in a row trying to get San Diego tickets.
Yeah.
So like when the big San Diego stuff happens, like, yeah, I watch it online. Like that's what I do. But this leads to my first real discussion point, which is if these online conventions are as successful as they appear to be doing, what does the convention landscape look like later? Like, do you people like? I assume that what's going to happen is a lot of these conventions are going to keep doing this and streaming it online because that's what people want to do. Is that going to lower the attendance or things like that of conventions in general?
I don't know, because there's something about, at least with like the autographs and the photos, of like getting to have that one-on-one time with your favorite person.
Certainly,
so the panels and stuff, whatever. But I think they want that meet and greet type.
You know, that's Sam says, how do we get our commissioned art and signed hockey pucks? See, Sam, that's not a terrible idea. Because hockey pucks are way cheaper than baseballs.
Aren't they heavier though?
They are heavier. Yeah, because we just had 50 of them delivered to the house the other day.
And what would you?
Did you have someone sign a hockey puck?
I've never had someone sign a hockey puck, but it's not a bad idea.
That's an object.
What would you have
Conroy
them sign
has
it
not
with?
signed for you yet.
Sharpie. Yeah,
Really?
Sharpie on a hockey puck, or a white one, like a gold or a silver Sharpie,
Gold.
or a paint pen.
Yeah.
I was just curious because I know that Sharpies are like a no on baseballs. So
They are in baseball. It's because it's the surface of the baseball. It's the leather.
but I thought the ink would fade out after a while too.
Yeah, because it can't bond. It will. Like if
Right.
I could find a way to use the same pen I use today on a hockey puck, I would totally do it. But yeah, Sharpies tend to fade on baseballs in particular. That, like, other than the pen that I use, the most common thing to use on a baseball is a big pen,
Big stick.
big stick, because when you sign, you actually you dig in, you press into the leather when you sign. And
So what do you use?
I use it's a Statler pen it's basic. It's the same pen that Topps uses and pretty much every card company uses to have them sign cards. It is basically archival and insta-dry.
Do you have this pen nearby?
I do not have this pen nearby.
You're talking up a big game. I kind of want to see the pen now.
You know
I
how
have
many pens have
that.
been stolen? Like how many of those I've lost? So it was, let's see here. Felicia Day stole one. Danny Glover asked for one. I told him no.
You told Danny Glover.
I told
no.
Danny Glover no. This was in New York and it was early. So I travel with a few of them in case something like that happens. I can't get rid of one on day one. Rob Schneider asked to buy it.
I'm sorry, Dave. Maybe if this were tomorrow.
It's true.
Maybe.
Yeah, Rob Schneider asked to buy it. I mean,
But you're
there's
day one.
You're a day one signer.
Yes, to Snyder. Just been like, yes, $100.
I don't think so. Day one, Danny.
Day one, Danny Glover. No. But the thing is, like, and Brandon, you may not. So when I go to conventions, something that I've done is I have baseballs signed by people or whatever. And so not only are people really confused as to why they're signing a baseball, but it's also the pin. And so, like, the reason I do the baseball thing, although hockey puck's a great idea, is I do the baseball thing because most people never signed a baseball, so it kind of disarms them in terms of you get to have a conversation like, why am I signing a baseball? It's like, it's cool, it's different or whatever. And if they said I've never signed a baseball before, I usually ask them to put my first baseball and inscribe it on there. So it's pretty it's fun. But to Nick's point, they're a pain to carry. Like Nick knows it's like, because I've got to figure out if there's a bunch I have to have signed. Like Dallas is the exception because I can put them up in the hotel room and then come back down and go back and forth. But Denver is way more complicated, especially if I want a bunch of people to sign. Like nobody wants to carry 12 baseballs. Like,
what kind of a coat check area? AwesomeCon did it like a couple of years, but just you can drop off your gear and everything.
I do. I just don't. I don't trust it.
Like,
Like,
there for some things, it'd be really nice.
Yeah.
Costume changes, stuff like that.
yeah.
PAX had an area like that. Well, PAX East did, but it was because it was March in Boston and it was a blizzard.
Oh.
Well, it's always an issue. Now that we do the podcast and we carry stuff with us sometimes, it becomes an issue with weight and distribution and who's carrying what and that kind of stuff. So it's always it wasn't always a thing, but it's now definitely a thing, especially if we're like at Dallas or even Denver. And let's say we have an interview, then we've got the equipment plus the baseballs plus a portfolio plus a comic ball or two. It's a nuisance, but it's a good nuisance.
It's a good problem to have. I am a big believer in e-bags. Like I love I have
I've got
several.
one for work and I love it.
Yeah, I
need to get
3 e-bags now.
It is an e-bag.
So e-bag is a backpack company that you can, and they have
D-bag, but like
I mean, there's that too.
There's that too. But they have a backpack that is large enough to fit an 11 by 17 portfolio in it and close the bag.
Oh.
And so I can carry the portfolio, I can carry the gear, and something and baseballs in one. And they fold open completely, so
That's
they're
the clamshell one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's designed as a laptop bag, but and having gone through several conventions with it, like I would almost say this thing is dang near indestructible. Like it has been through. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It's the professional.
I have the same version that he does, but the junior. So it's not the same, but a version of his. It's the junior, so it's a little bit, or not the junior. The what is it called? Anyway, it doesn't.
The F bag.
No, it's the next. Yeah, it's the next size down from what Kat's talking about. It zips halfway. I use it for work. It's amazing. So my plan is to get one larger one just for the fact of going to conventions.
I see.
But they sell all kinds of stuff. I mean, they sell North Face, Patagonia, all that stuff. It's just they have their own brand of bag.
Yeah, and I've got the Professional Weekender is one of them that I have. That's awesome.
I think I have the Professional Slim. That's what it is.
Okay. So yeah, if you're looking for a good backpack now, I mean, this is not a $20 backpack, but they always run coupons and things like that. It's a good investment.
I love that we are like the GQ of con lifestyle.
In the categories.
We've done bag reviews.
That's my cat.
If you're looking for a good con bag, you might want to consider the Weekender.
Well, here's the thing. Like, that's a thing. Like,
yes,
finding the right.
Ever had to run around a con with like an uncomfortable backpack?
Yeah.
Hurts
and
so
people,
much.
A lot of people that are first-time conners don't really think about that.
The other thing is most backpacks, when you weigh them down, do the slope and they expand out from your body. So as you're turning, you smack people with them. Yeah. These stay in a rectangle and flat shape. I mean, he's had it completely loaded down, probably 30 pounds worth of stuff,
Yeah.
and it stays in the shape that it is.
All baseballs.
Baseballs, recording equipment, portfolio.
Yeah.
I mean, all that stuff.
The Pro
So-
baseballs.
the Pro Slim Weekender. Yep, the Pro Slim Weekender. If you're looking for a good con bag, I recommend it in gray. It's nice. So sorry, Heather
Well,
Graphite.
we saw that one guy at the convention when we were
Yeah.
interviewing Ripley. Had one too.
Yeah,
So I mean, it's getting around, but I don't know. It's an expensive backpack for what it is, and it's not like the most aesthetically pleasing. But when you put it on and it stays right up against your body, despite the weight, it's nice. I mean, it really is nice.
like right now it's priced at $169, but there's a 60% off coupon. So you're $100 or less, and I think like it is. This bag would last for years. So now I won't need the Pro Slim Weekender for Comic-Con at home. I mean, I could just carry it around the house.
Just so you can have that experience.
That's so I feel like, but I've used it for con, I use it for travel, things like that. So it's been through however many TSAs, all this other stuff, underneath.
Or training montage with you and your backpack, like
I'm picturing.
We joke about that, but we actually do. I mean, there is, you guys know because you've been, there is a level of fitness that you have to have in order to do a convention the right way and be able to not be broken the following 2 weeks.
mhm.
And it's not even just the con cred. I mean, it's the physical aspect of it. Getting your feet ready, your legs ready, and being able to stretch, like all of that stuff. It's so weird to think about because really all you're doing is just trolling around. You're not really running. But
I don't think
it's
Earth
like
2 Church has to
wears
deal
you
with that.
you don't
I
think
mean,
what?
I don't think Earth 2 Church has to deal with that. I think Earth 2 Church exists in a permanent state of confit.
That could be fair.
So
He is otherworldly,
as
literally.
America, and then I'll run past people yelling on your left, and that's one of my favorite con experiences.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that first year, I think the first year that we went to Denver, we were talking, because Dallas is one thing, because Dallas is great because the hotel we stay in is well documented, is connected to the convention center. So while it's a walk, it's not a huge walk. Now, whenever we're in Denver, in years past, not this past year, but years past, we've stayed with a family friend that's about a mile away, like a mile down 16th Street. So like that first year that we stayed there, like day one or whatever, we did 15, 16 miles, something like that. And then day two, and then day three. And like, so by the end of it, you've done a ton. And sometimes people don't really like, we joke about being confit, but it's something you got to be ready for.
It's like the only time I wear my Fitbit now, just so I can actually see how many steps I take.
Well, and on top of that, you match the altitude at Denver, and that just totally, I mean, that messed me up bad. Not from like I didn't get altitude sickness, but just from the feeling of being fit and being able to breathe. Like that totally screwed me up.
Oh my goodness.
It took me a while.
The first time I visited my parents after they moved into the mountains, wherever that was in Colorado, just walking up their stairs, I was like,
Well, that's the other part is like it's kind of downhill to the where Cav is saying that we stayed, but then you got to cross over the railroad tracks,
The big bridge. Yeah.
and it's like, oh god, this is terrible. And so going up, I would like beat Cav up, but be gassed at the top, and he would just walk right past me.
You got to pace yourself. So,
Yeah.
So we'll post a link here. This is what I'll do in case anybody wants it. This is what we're going to do. We really should get there we go.
Affiliate.
We should get an affiliate link. That posted everywhere. There's the e-bag. That's the bag that we
yes.
that we recommend. So let's talk about movies because there's a lot to talk about movie wise.
Waldorf pins are better.
Waldorf pins. Yes. So my mom has been to New York Comic Con with me. That's an event unlike anything else. Just mainly because one, you're trying not to get run over by anybody, but it is so spread out. Like it's not just one convention center; it's everywhere. Like so, you're 6 or 7 blocks one way, or 6 or 7 blocks another way to go to these little theaters and stuff like that. Like it's insane. So let's talk about movies. Last week we were talking about Tenet, whether it was going to get delayed, and, talking about maybe pushing it out, which led us to a conversation about Inception, about this little spinning top thing. Well, guess what? You're going to have a chance to look at it again because Inception is taking the Tenet release date for the 10-year anniversary of Inception, which drives that doesn't make sense to me. That Inception's been out 10 years.
Yeah.
And so that is going to take the Tenet release date here in a couple of weeks, which I think is kind of an interesting move because it's like, well, if people really want to see it, maybe people kind of get their feet wet in the theater and kind of get the experience. And it gives the theaters and kind of to work out some bugs or whatever. But Tenet is getting pushed back. It has happened, but it's only getting pushed back 2 weeks. So from July 17th to July 31st. So here's the thing: if theaters open in July, let's say they open July 1, which is kind of the target date for some people. If they open July 1, that gives them a month to figure stuff out before a huge release. Now, Mulan is still kind of in the ether a little bit about where it's going to be. But you're talking about we've lost Earth through church. He's fallen into a portal. And so you've got that going to July 31st. If they continually push, then we'll know that maybe there's more to it. But it will be interesting to see. So with Inception going back into the theaters, assuming that it is is that a matinee worthy seeing it on an afternoon just because we haven't seen it so long because it is visually?
I'd go see it in an evening even if I had to.
Okay.
That is a movie that made me fall in love with the theater again.
Mm-hmm. It's a great theater movie.
Yeah, I would love to go see it. I mean, just from the opening scene, it blew me away.
Yeah.
I didn't know entirely what I was walking into when I went to see that.
It's good, but I can see it at my house and not risk people in COVID.
True.
If I'm going to risk it, it's going to be for something new.
If you're in a dream, can't you control them?
Well, I'm not in a dream.
That you know of.
That you know of. You spun on top recently? There's one right above you.
I'm spinning the spinner.
Why don't you spin that top over there? He's right above you.
So we've got
the chair swivels.
So there is I agree. Like Inception is one of those movies that visually it makes it part of the theater experience, visually and audio. Like that's the thing. Like I will see a movie even if it looks awful story wise. If there is something visual and audio about that movie that's different.
Gravity.
And Gravity for sure.
Yeah.
The silence, like that's one of those weird things. Like if you talk about,
Brandon made that desk.
I did.
If
Just so
this
you know.
does not fall over, I'm gonna freak out. Oh, he's not gonna show us.
Fat symbols, kind of.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, it's three of us are sitting on made desks. I did not make mine, but
I made mine.
You made
Made mine.
I tried to make Cav one, but it didn't really work out.
It didn't
It
work
got
out.
made
Sitting on a
too.
TV tray I bought at Walmart. So
Sweet.
someone made it.
So like, and here's the thing:
Might have been a robot.
has Christopher Nolan ever not made a movie that visually or it does not push the envelope in some way?
Not really.
I don't know what his movies are besides
I mean, what was his least impressive movie?
this one.
Insomniac.
Somniac, maybe. Yeah, because he did Dunkirk also, which is just
Mind blowing.
yeah.
Maybe some of his earlier stuff, like before he was.
Like his earlier stuff was Memento and
This is incredible.
Yeah.
like Brandon said,
Inception.
Insomniac.
Yeah.
He did a movie called Following, which was a very noir type of film, but it was black and white, so it was beautiful anyway.
Is that any relationship to the TV show, The Following?
No. Not that I know of.
Haven't
Yeah.
seen it.
Sam says he wasn't a fan of Batman and Robin. Wrong Batman director. However, I do have something about
Wasn't that
Batman and Robin.
Schumacher?
That was Schumacher. I was in my. I went to my storage unit last weekend to grab something.
Was it bat nipples?
Well, it's related, and so sitting basically off to the side, like next to their, like somebody piled up a bunch of trash, which you're not supposed to do there, whatever. But sitting on top of it was a Batman and Robin pull-out poster coloring book. So poster size, like 18 by 24, adult, like did I say adult? Kids coloring book sheets. I absolutely grabbed it.
Someone's trash.
I did.
I love it.
I think you like this movie more than you let on originally.
I think
Batman
so.
and Robin?
Mm-hmm.
I think the storage unit is all copies of this movie.
It's true. It's like that guy who collects the copy who wants to own every VHS copy of Speed. Here's the thing, like I don't mind Batman and Robin because I know what it is and I know where it sits in the mythos, which I mean, it is what it is. And you've got Uma Thurman, which, I mean, can you really go wrong there? No, not really.
They did.
I mean, they did, but I mean,
But that's okay. The genre resurfaced and
Yeah.
was reborn like a phoenix. Just not like the Phoenix movies.
yeah, not like the last, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, so you've got Batman and Robin, and you've got the whole thing. So I grabbed it. So what I think we're gonna do is if we do Extra Life this year, which I'd like to, Extra Life or something for St. Jude, whatever we end up doing is our charity stuff for the year, which is going to be a little different, a little difficult this year just because of where everything is. One of the random giveaways is going to be we're going to color one of those things and we're going to ship it to you.
Yeah.
So,
That's great.
I have an extra life idea
you have an Extra Life idea?
for Nick.
Always for Nick.
To make him watch Firefly. Have like a $1 count per episode. I would pay money for you to watch Firefly because it's so good.
Nick, you haven't seen Firefly?
You should watch it. Even my friend who knows nothing about any Whedon or nerdy stuff has watched that and loves it.
How many episodes are there?
11.
It's only one season.
It's half
11?
a season, man.
Yeah.
11. So you'll pay $11 for me to watch a season?
No, I would pay like money per episode.
Okay.
So
So if you
set
watch
it
the
at
whole season, you get the
$5.
$11.
I pay $5 an episode.
Yeah, see, so it'd
Ooh.
be $55. You have to set how
Here's
much
the movie
each
at the
episode
end. And the first.
Where would I be able to watch it at? Where's it at?
Does he have to watch the movie?
You can go to Lynn's house and watch his
Oh.
copy.
Yeah, around here in Oklahoma, we're blowing up with coronavirus. I'm not going anywhere. So
Not now. It's like October.
you're banking on the fact that Oklahomans have brains.
You've lived here, Brandon.
Okay, we'll find you
Yeah.
a copy without you leaving your house. That's
Is it
Also,
not
it's
on
on
Is
Hulu.
it not on Amazon or something? I thought it was on some streaming service.
Ooh.
It's on Hulu.
It's a Fox property, so yeah.
It's on Hulu. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
So
Okay. That is a challenge I will accept because I am perfectly fine to do something that's not going to cause me bodily harm and raise money.
It might cause you emotional harm.
It will cause
Well, you know
emotional
what? Considering
harm.
that I was looking for somebody cutting onions yesterday when I was the only one in the house after watching the last episode of season 7 of Arrow, I'm good. I can handle it.
Okay.
So, all right. So you've got that, but other movies are also getting pushed back as well. Wonder Woman has been pushed back again from August 14th to October 2nd. So we've gone from June 5th to August 14th. Now we're in October 2nd for Wonder Woman
It sounds
1984.
like the reopening phases almost. They're pushing it back a few weeks at a time, and
Just to kind of see
yeah.
what's going on.
So
At
weird
least
to see
Sorry, go
Wonder
ahead.
Woman merchandise. Like they already have the 84
know.
like Funkos and
I
stuff
know.
out, but they have to keep pushing the movie out.
I know the Funkos are really throwing me off.
Yes. I was like, wait, did that come out?
There is
By the time the movie comes out, the Funkos are going to be gone.
Right.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Like, I wonder if we could find out. Like, it's the same thing with Black Widow. The Black Widow Funkos are out. Like, you could conceivably spoil a major character or
Oh, yeah.
something if the things get dropped out. But you have to wonder,
They
like,
have done before.
yeah, it's like, do they have do they have a deal with Funko? Like, look, movie or not, these drop on this date, because otherwise you have to make you have to make Funko sit on all that inventory, and you've got to figure there's a whole lot of Funko things like that. So they look amazing. Like they're kind of like building some hype, a little bit for the movie, and so.
But that's what I've been worried about is just the spoilers. The more things get delayed, the more stuff leaks.
Yeah, that's true. Here's the thing. I will donate to this part of Extra Life. Sam says they will stand in your yard and act out the scenes of Firefly. So
we did it with Star Wars.
It's true. I feel like
back in the day.
So
mostly just the lightsaber duel scenes.
So other movies that have been pushed back. So Matrix 4 has been pushed back to April 2022. So it's way out there now. Is anybody else like a monster movie fan, like Godzilla?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Godzilla versus Kong has been pushed back from November 20th of this year to May 21st, 2021. So I'm excited about that. Apparently, they're also doing a live-action Tom and Jerry movie. I don't know how I feel about this. That has been pushed back from December 23rd.
Cats, but with a mouse too.
We all know how well Cats went.
I'm very confused by this.
Could be Stuart Little type of a thing.
That's true.
So it was a Christmas release, December 23rd. It got pushed to March 5th.
You guys realize we are a week away from Top Gun's original release date?
I know. And now it's Christmas?
Yeah. It's a Christmas movie.
It is.
Here's the thing. What if they Photoshop a Christmas tree into certain parts of it just to make it a Christmas movie?
They're on the coast, right? So they could have like a palm tree with Christmas lights.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Put a star on the front of his plane.
Yeah.
Just right.
You need it's a red nose. Come on.
Red nose. There you go.
The star can be on his
get it at Walgreens.
Yeah. So anything, if they can put antlers and a red nose on a car, they can put it on a plane.
Your tagline of the movie.
Yeah. So yeah, you've got a lot.
Dodge plane.
I'm excited about Godzilla versus Kong. Like those movies are. I love those kaiju style movies. Like now the Godzilla movie with Bryan Cranston and whatever. Like it was okay. It wasn't great. The sequel was okay. Like, but it was
cool.
Right.
That's the last one that came out.
The last one that came out. Like that goes to the visual audio piece of it. Like the sequel in the theater. Like I went and saw the first one because it was one of the first movies that got released in Dolby Atmos. So full surround, whatever. So it sounds like Godzilla standing over your head. Like it's unnerving and amazing.
And that's the sound you use, by the way, for your first Atmos film.
Oh,
you want a Godzilla roar?
That's good.
Yeah. It's Godzilla. Then you have like helicopters flying over your head. All of these things. So I saw that in Dallas. I think I was at Dallas Comic-Con, maybe the first or second time, because I was solo and went down there and one evening. House? I don't think it was not the Draft House. It was somewhere else. So I went and saw that, but the second one, same thing. Visually, sound is just all encompassing, and that's the kind of movie that it just keeps getting better and better. Even though at this point, we may never actually see the Avatar sequels as slow as they are coming along. If they do ever actually come out, it will be like that will be one of those movies that pushes the envelope. I'm convinced that Avatar itself, the only reason people saw it as many times as they saw it, it's not a bad movie, but it did something different. Like it was 3D, visual, it was everything.
3D was.
I was gonna say visually, yes, it was different. Story-wise,
it was something we've never seen before, ever.
And you couldn't see it home in the same experience. It had to be a
totally new story.
Yeah, it had to be in the theater, which is why it lasted for however many weeks. Or like that movie was like going back to the movies back in the 80s when something would stay in a theater for like 36 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Like now, if you don't see it in the first like month, especially if it's a smaller film, like you're rolling the dice. Like you don't really.
Yeah.
And so only blockbusters hang around for maybe 2 months, and I'm talking about like a Star Wars
Like Force
or or a Batman or something like that, who has the ability to say like, look, you're going to keep me in your theater for a minimum of this. And so, you know, I think something like a Tenet and things like that, especially since it will probably be the biggest release or whatever, I wonder if it will have a significant hold on, Sam's commenting there. I wonder how much staying power it's going to have, considering it's probably not going to have a lot of competition. So, I mean, the Warren may have Tenet on 14 of the 16 screens for all we know. Like,
Sam, we need like a side movie of just Iroh.
So,
Story.
all right, let's get into. So, speaking of movies, I'm just going to read this headline, and I want you to tell me how ridiculous this sounds. Warner Brothers executives reportedly don't believe that Henry Cavill can lead a new Superman movie right now.
Well, they're dumb.
I would like to know what makes them think this.
I would like to know what, Church?
What makes them think this?
All right. So this is from comicbook.com. As always, you can find our sources. GatherTheNerds.com is there. Critics are claiming that Warner Brothers wasn't happy with the numbers on Man of Steel, although the studio denies this. And he got some blowback from Batman v Superman, and he said that some of the last movies that he had done didn't put a lot of butts in seats. Although I would, where he was the lead. Now I would say that when he was the movie with Mission Impossible, that wasn't really there. I didn't realize he has not been in a movie since Justice League.
Cavill?
That was the last thing he's in. He's not appeared on screen since Justice League.
Mission Impossible was after, wasn't it? Fallout?
Yeah.
Maybe they're talking about Warner Brothers.
As Superman.
Yeah, as Superman.
Maybe as Superman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder how long.
Because
filming on
you're
The
right,
Witcher-
Brandon.
I really liked him in what is it? The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah, he was. That was excellent.
I mean, that was a really good movie, but
Was that in Army?
him and
Was it Army?
him and Army Hammer.
And wasn't Army up for the Superman role at one point?
Army was going to play Batman
Oh, okay.
in the George Miller Justice League.
so see, we kind of did get a Batman versus Superman, but if they were
That would
spies.
have been cool.
So, someone says an anonymous source cited by Heroic Hollywood claims a standalone Superman would not be successful at this time. Perhaps once there's more momentum after playing a supporting role in some successful DC films, there would be more of a chance of a standalone film.
I don't think it's his fault though.
It's not. He's a good Superman, and he's a good Clark Kent.
Yes, 100%. And here's the thing: like it would be, especially since we're going to get season 2 of Witcher before any of this would happen. It would be idiotic to not ride that wave of momentum. The Witcher became this thing that even Netflix, like it became a Stranger Things.
Yeah.
It took a property that, granted, some of us knew about, gamers obviously in particular knew about this game, and it brought everybody into this universe. And all of a sudden, people like it became this huge phenomenon. I mean, you look at the sales numbers of the game after the fact, and more people were playing the game after the Witcher TV series released than when the Witcher game came out originally. And so, like, you ride that Henry Cavill popularity. Like, maybe they're not superhero people. Oh, he played Geralt. Let's go watch him play Superman. Like, you got to kind of ride that wave. I don't know. I think part of it is I agree with what you said earlier, which is it's not his fault, but I think some of the blame is being laid at his red boots, and it's just not him. I think some people have issues with Man of Steel. I like Man of Steel.
An actor can only do as much as the director is going to let them do.
Yes, and the script.
I mean, and then the post editing of like Justice League, like you can only do so much. I mean, that
wonder
that killed the whole movie for me at that point. And it's not really it. He's going to get blamed because he's the title person, but again, there's just only so much that they can do.
I wonder if when they release the Snyder Cut, if that would help him.
I wonder that too.
That's a good point.
Maybe.
I really
At least put it in people's minds of him as Superman again.
Well, is there a backlash of people against him as Superman?
No, it's all studio. It's all studio.
Okay, so we have to convince DC.
Basically, yeah, and it has to do with the fact that basically, Man of Steel or whatever didn't do Iron Man numbers or whatever. Like that, I think there's that certain comparison that's always being made to standalone superhero movies between DC and Marvel, and well, we know that that's just not smart. Yeah, like.
They've had.
Realize Man of Steel came out 7 years ago, by the way.
Wow. Okay.
2013.
With more streaming like HBO Max, I wonder if there'll be more renewed interest, like people having accessibility to watch Man of Steel and the older movies that can drive interest.
Aren't they?
Yeah, here's something really odd that I didn't put in the agenda because I forgot. Yeah. Is a lot of the DC superhero movies are leaving HBO Max
after 1 month.
I feel lied to. Not that I have HBO.
Makes me really thrilled that we subscribed to it for Beverly Hills Chihuahua instead of DC.
Oh, that's safe.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I believe it will stay. It will stay until Disney can pick them up. So they will be on Disney Plus, and I know this because I had to find where Harper could watch it. But they won't be there until like 2021, and then the other two won't be there until 2022. So yes, they will be there for a while.
Well, they made the promise that they would have every Beverly Hills Chihuahua movie for the last 40 years.
There's only 3 of them, so there you go.
Oh, they got them.
Yeah, there has to be more to this story. Yeah,
we're just going to try and breathe new life into the DC app, so maybe they'll move the movies over there. I don't know why you don't just consolidate, but
yeah,
I had forgotten all about that DC app.
I didn't really should just consolidate. And I was like, that's the only thing I can think of, but
they are consolidating HBO apps down to 2 HBO apps.
Yeah, HBO Go has gone away, right?
Going away, just HBO, I think.
Yeah. So, that doesn't make any sense to me why they're doing that. But speaking of streaming services, in Nick's torture perhaps with Beverly Hills Chihuahua, I'm going to put in a feature request.
I just know the words now, so it's okay. It's not a big deal.
All right, so as an extra life thing, Nick will act out Beverly Hills Chihuahua on your yard.
How much do I have to donate?
Yeah, so here's a feature request for streaming platforms.
If you want that, you're donating about $1,000.
Start saving now.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, I will make a fool of myself in somebody's front yard acting that out if $1,000 from you goes to kids. I will do that. But if you're not willing to commit, I'm not either.
I don't have $1,000 to do that with.
You asked.
I would like to see that, but I'm going to give money. I'm probably going to give money to the kids anyway, if I'm being honest. But that will. What do you think, guys? If we all donate,
can we pool together?
$25 each
per person.
That would get a nice sum.
You will too.
Okay, so if it's per person,
I'm raising the stakes here. I'm raising the stakes. It's per person.
So if
the church dropped the G, fine. If Cav drops a G, fine. Hannah, fine. Brandon, you're too far away.
It where he doesn't have to do it.
Okay, but if we all drop it, are you going to act it out 4 times?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
I think you'd have to.
Let me say it this way. We reenacted in our living room. Harper would love it. There's a specific part in Beverly Hills 2 that she loves to reenact. And we've already done it 3 times. So I know for a fact that if we could raise that money, it'd be on.
So technically, there are 3 movies. So if 3 people donated $1,000, he'd have to act out the trilogy.
Well, the first one's really bad. Like, ironically, you would think the first one would be better than the others. It's not that good, like at all. Even with Sigourney
Weird. I
Weaver,
thought they were all solid.
Oh my gosh,
There
I
was
just
some
lost.
Oscar buzz for that second one.
Jamie Lee Curtis and stuff like that. Like, yeah, the guy from Narcos. Like, you would think it'd be good. Not so
Pedro?
much.
Pedro Pascal.
No,
Mandalorian?
no.
The Mando?
He's the only one I know from Narcos.
Beverly Hills Mando?
Taking over
The
everything
Beverly
else.
Hills Mandalorian. I love it. I feel like we should make this happen. Sam, that is a Photoshop request. The Beverly Hills Mandalorian. I will say, like, having several friends with kids talking about, I've had to watch Frozen 47 times because it's on the streaming app or whatever. Here's a parental
Just let it
feature
go,
request. I won't. Here's a parental feature request, which
Just
is
let it go, Kev.
have the ability to hide things from the results. Go into a parental menu where you can basically hide movies you don't want to watch at the time. So if your kid search for, sorry, it's gone. We're going to have to watch Fast and the Furious 9. Sorry.
Basically,
Like-
just a lie to your kids feature.
Yes.
I can get behind that.
So
You know what, though? I will say, if I had to choose between like Moana and Frozen 2, which I've seen many times all the way around, versus Beverly Hills Chihuahua, I would choose those. I would absolutely watch Frozen over and over again and watch Moana over and over again and watch
Oh, now
Frozen
he's-
2 over and over again.
Now he's dogging.
'Cause I've already
on
done it.
Chihuahua.
But I've already done it.
It
So
was so good just a moment ago, but
Yeah, but Moana has The Rock.
it's true. Just tied it with.
You're
in,
welcome.
in
Little
cartoon
pig.
form, sure.
Is there a Hobbs? Is there a Hobbs and Shaw tie-in Moana? Like, I feel like there should be. Speaking of movies that I will probably watch over and over again, and things that DC does well, is animated movies. So DC is talking about Bruce Timm is reportedly returning back to DC. Church just broke his jaw.
Sorry.
DC or Bruce Timm, as of Batman the Animated Series, Bruce Timm is coming back to DC for an animated film derived from a Batman Elseworld story, Batman Soul of the Dragon. So this ties into what our next thing is, but I'll talk about this first, which is it will have Bronze Tiger, Lady Shiva, Richard Dragon as well. Excuse me. Richard Dragon as well, alongside Batman. So all the characters share the same master, and he's been missing for some time. Here's the thing. DC does animated stuff really well. Bruce Timm is, basically from an animated standpoint, he is it when it comes to DC. So I'll be curious if they look at this movie almost like a Bruce Timm style, like the Dark Deco Batman the Animated Series style of animation, which would be awesome because we haven't seen anything like that in a little while. The new DC stuff doesn't really share that Dark Deco look, and so because there's been more Batman the Animated Series because they brought the book back out. The Batman, the Adventures Continue, which some fans are loving, some fans not so much. But I haven't read it yet. But that is.
Well, it sounds like they're meaning to fill holes in the animated series run.
Yeah, basically, yeah, they're gonna. It's basically filling pieces, small stories. Paul Dini and stuff like that. Basically, bringing the old gang back together is going to do that. So. Where they think some of the inspiration for the story comes is from Richard Dragon Kung Fu Fighter, which was written by Denny O'Neil. Sadly, Denny O'Neil passed away this week. If you don't know who Denny O'Neil is in a DC universe, he's basically the man who saved Batman. Like in 1960s, as awesome as the 60s animated. Well, it might as well have been animated. Adam West. Batman is that was counter to Batman. Like Batman was always a dark character, and Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams are widely credited with bringing Batman back to his roots. Denny O'Neil was 81 years old. His you put it, his bio, his whatever, is absolutely insane. Green Lantern, Green Arrow, including that cover with basically with Speedy shooting up on the cover and things like that. That is a Neil Adams cover, but he brought Green Lantern, Green Arrow back. He also did the character. I'm sorry?
He did the Question, didn't he?
I think he did the Question. He also did. He did the Question. He created Azrael, and he was highly involved with Nightfall. Now, Nightfall, when it hit in the mid '90s, like Nightfall is what brought me into comics, like really hardcore. And if you've never read Nightfall, that whole thing, you can get it like Nightfall, Night Quest, Night something, and the volumes are about this thick, and I'm not exaggerating. That was my first experience as a kid hunting for something. I need Batman Shadow of the Bat, number this. I need Batman this, number that, like to do the story, to go through Nightfall. And so he is widely credited with driving Nightfall, which was amazing. And also, I believe, he co-created Ra's al Ghul and Talia, which have a huge thing in the Batman mythos all the way into the Arrowverse. He actually wrote on the Batman the Animated Series, he wrote The Demon's Quest, Part 1 and Part 2, which are widely two of the best episodes. He also created Leslie Tompkins as well, which she has a role in various pieces in the Batman universe. And so while he did do work on like Spider-Man, Daredevil, helped develop characters like Obadiah Stane, who we saw in Iron Man, Lady Deathstrike, and Madam Web. Like he also was involved in G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. Like he is also, here's the thing I didn't realize. He is credited with the naming of the character of Optimus Prime.
Wow.
So, that is it was a huge loss. He died of natural causes. He was 81 years old. His final published work will be an installment in the Joker 80th anniversary special that was just released by DC. So, I mean, a true titan of the industry. DC likely doesn't. I don't know that DC necessarily survives or thrives without him doing that, especially during the 90s. Like that is his stuff is pretty amazing.
I remember as a Marvel guy, like I never paid attention to DC. I knew Batman because everyone knows Batman and Superman, but I never read the comics until Nightfall came out. I mean, they had an entire card set based off of it that I collected. I didn't know anything about it, and that got me into it.
Yeah, as if you've never read Nightfall, like the Breaking of Batman is, I mean, it is a story that it certainly has that 90s feel to it. Like it certainly does, but like it's something I typically read. It's a lot of my like travel reading. If I'm traveling and having to go like travel a long way or something like that, I have it on my iPad. I will just go through and read it. And when I'm done, I will just go back to the beginning and just read it again. Like it's an amazing story. And you meet all these characters and things like that. Because as knowing Batman, but talking about Batman the Animated Series or even 66 Batman, when you got into Nightfall, you met everybody who's anybody in the Batman universe. Like the characters you would never see. Like I don't know, you'd never see like really like Victor Zsasz as Victor Zsasz in the animated series. You were like, the animated series was dark. He was not that. It wasn't that dark. So you've got those characters in there, and so it's this amazing story. This kind of goes along, and a lot of stories that have come after it in terms of how to get to Batman, how to break Batman, or whatever. There's a very distinct Nightfall feel to all of them. So it's pretty amazing. Like I said, a huge loss. So if you're looking for something, that cat is looking into my soul. If you're looking for something that is something to read, I bet you that Comixology, stuff like that, you can usually get it fairly cheap on Comixology and stuff as well. So in other Bat news, the showrunner of Batwoman, Carolyn Dries, released a statement regarding Kate Kane.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you take it. Yeah, you could. I don't see like you two together above each other is not a good thing. I wish I could like. So she released a statement regarding, because people are talking about why wouldn't you just recast Kate Kane? Why are you basically bringing in another character? Her statement is as such. She says, as a lesbian who's been working as a writer for the past 15 years, I'm well aware of the bury your gays trope, and I have no interest in participating in it. That's why it's important to me as a showrunner to clarify any misinformation out there about Kate Kane and the recasting of Batwoman. Like you, I love Kate Kane. She's the reason I wanted to do the show. We will never erase her. In fact, her disappearance will be one of the mysteries of season 2. I don't want to give away any of our surprises, but to all our devoted fans, please know that the LGBTQ plus community justice is at the very core of what Batwoman is. We have no intention of abandoning that. So I'm going to put this theory out there. Is it possible is it possible, I think slightly, is it possible that maybe they were thinking about doing this early on and that Ruby Rose is coming back later?
They might be trying to like just give her some room, especially if it is mostly to do with her injury.
Yeah.
Like that has to have been like a traumatic.
I mean, there's nothing bad that has come out, right?
Not that I know of.
No, I mean,
there's nothing about flack between her and the showrunner or
there's
the film
We're
schedule
saying
or
maybe
anything.
her Instagram where she said like those that know, but
there were some unconfirmed kind of, typical reports about, being difficult to work with or whatever. But that's the thing. If you're beat up and injured or whatever, yeah, I'd be difficult to work with too.
yeah.
Also, like you being the robot.
It's true.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying I would like be terrified to do any stunts after that. So
But
she might like mentally have to just have some time.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, also, if you're planning this, you're going to drop some breadcrumbs.
It's like it's the those who know statement now has way more of a conspiracy bent to it. Like those who know, as in those who know what's actually happening know that I'm only going away for a little while, or I'm whatever, or.
What if Batman missing was the breadcrumb?
Hey, we all missed it from the beginning. So I don't know. It's she also had a decent movie career going as well, and so maybe it's one of those things where she has an opportunity to go do something that she wants to go do. It fits into the story, lets her heal, things like that. Like I don't know if maybe we're putting too much on it, but I think it would be a very kind of cool thing. Be like, hey, this whatever, somebody else takes up the cowl, just like has happened in Batman many times, as Hannah talked about last week. You do that, because Batman is a symbol, right? And so, or Batwoman also is a symbol. Anybody can pick up the cowl, and so it kind of gives that kind of story to, what that can do. And so, like, talk about a mind-blown thing. Like, if they get through a season, even 2 seasons, and then the season finale, the final scene is you see Ruby Rose back in the Batwoman costume or something like that. And then and they keep it quiet the whole time. Like, and pull something like that off.
If you look at the rest of the
really difficult to do, but
yeah,
they've had really good relationships with all the characters in their shows. So for years, Arrow and Flash and Rose have brought back people that they've written off and killed off for flashbacks or alternate Earths or whatever. So that speaks to good relationships with their actors and a long game continuity. So
yeah,
awesome they brought her back in some way. Well,
the alternate Earth is an interesting point, Earth 2 Church, which is like she could conceivably show up in any of the crossovers if they're going to different Earths. Now, granted, a lot of the Earths are now, there's an Earth Prime and like 6 or 7 other Earths that are left or whatever. She could come back as Batwoman from another Earth. So I said, now I'm curious about this. I'm wondering if maybe there's more to this. So, and much like Batwoman, there are other characters in comics universes that there are other people taking up the cows or suits, as it were. This is leading into some of the video game discussion, which is they released the details for the PlayStation 5. One of those details is a new Spider-Man game, Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Yes.
So now there were a lot of conflicting reports. Is this a remaster? Is this a sequel? Is this a DLC? Because one of the Sony executives misspoke.
Mm-hmm.
From Insomniac themselves, they say Spider-Man Miles Morales is a standalone game similar to Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
So it is because they're talking about, there's a substantial Miles Morales component, which is the expansion element, which is the comment that Sony made, which got everybody all twisted up. Is this a remaster? Is this whatever? Now, there will be a version of the Spider-Man PS4 game on PS5. There will be a remaster if necessary. If I had to guess, the core of it is already there.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is widely considered probably one of the best PlayStation games, made. And so between that and like Last of Us 2 and stuff like that, so I'm excited about this. We actually watched Into the Spider-Verse, family movie night a couple weeks ago. They wanted to watch Into the Spider-Verse.
So good.
And that's so good. And so I just want more Nicolas Cage.
One of Harper's favorite.
I've been listening to this soundtrack like all week.
You want
Harper
more
really
Spider-Man.
does like it a lot.
I like all of them, but yeah.
It's a great, and so it is a great, it is a great movie. But this tying into, like, if you look at characters per se, like a Batman or whatever, like this is a real kind of, I don't want to say departure is the wrong word, but evolution on, like, you play a Batman game, you're always playing as Batman. He's always Bruce Wayne. Like, this is literally a Spider-Man game, not about Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a huge thing.
You can only tell his story so many times. And just like in film, like, start the action, stop telling the origin story, and tell the other ones. Like, I want Miles in the MCU. I love to see that. We know Peter. I love Peter so much, but there's other one that picked up the mantle, and I don't know Miles' story that much, other than Spider-Verse and a little bit from the comics.
Yeah.
Say one of my favorite bits from Spider-Verse is Noir, Spider-Man, Nick Cage, and the cube, the Rubik's cube.
The Rubik's cube.
Because he can't see color.
I mean, here's the thing: you could tell the Spider-Man, or like this is the Spider-Man origin story scene I want, which is basically Peter Parker maybe is an adult or something like that, with a box of Uncle Ben's rice, and he just pours it out, accidentally drops it, and goes, "Oh, my Uncle Ben," and then just moves on. That's all that I want. But like you said, it is the thing that every superhero movie that has multiple iterations has dealt with. Batman has killed their parents 19 times. Spider-Man has killed Uncle Ben how many times? Like, this is a new story, something different. Like, get it, move it along. So I'm excited about this. Like, this game might, like, I don't know if this is a PS5 exclusive or not. This might teeter me over to that, maybe if it's on sale. Like, I don't know.
On sale.
Well, if the PlayStation, like, we don't know. That's the thing. We still don't know the pricing of the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox One X. One looks like a Wi-Fi router. The other one looks like a mini refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no telling. But
is it actually a mini fridge as well? Because that'd be dope.
I mean, I feel like if Xbox temperatures are anything to go by, you should be able to cook bacon on the top of it.
That's
probably a George Foreman.
That's true.
Yeah. And so just be sure to tilt your grease away from the console. So
I agree. I was going to wait a couple of years for the PS5, but Spider-Man and Miles Morales could be a game changer. It's not good.
I wonder if they did a Spider-Man themed one, like they did the Spider-Man themed PS4, that might be cool. But one of the interesting things that Sony confirmed a digital only version of the PS5, no disk drive, just straight up digital only version. So
my DVDs.
Well, Xbox tried to do that 10 years ago, and everyone hated on them for it.
Yep. And then there is a new digital version of the S right now, but I don't think it's a big seller. I'd have
Option. 2 versions, that's fine.
yeah.
The price and keep out the DVD drive.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like if you make one $25 or $50 cheaper than the other, you lose the 4K UHD, the 4K UHD capability to watch things. But like for some people who don't use it for that, like
digital, people don't want a disc in their house a lot of times. So
yeah, it is it's one less thing to break. Is the way to
move and
yeah. So there's that piece of it. So as we get more pricing and stuff like that, we will certainly go further into that. One last thing on the gaming side, AT&T is reportedly looking to sell the Warner Brothers gaming division. The next statement should scare everybody. EA, Activision, and more are very interested. Like, I can't.
That I just saw my cat in the background.
So they're talking about EA's report. This is from comicbook.com. AT&T is reported looking to sell Warner Brothers gaming division, with companies like EA, Activision, and Take-Two Interactive all interested in striking possibly a $4 billion with a B dollar deal.
Well, Sam is not happy.
Yes, Sam is not. There's Sam's response. The deals that are in you have to understand the things that are in that universe are, will you two behave? I feel Batman, Lego games, Mortal Kombat, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, things like that are all in that universe. So so that is a
why are they wanting to sell?
So they're looking at divesting assets because there's $200 billion in debt floating around there. We lost Nick. And so there's a lot of different a lot of stuff there. So yeah, it's I don't know. This is interesting to see what might come of this and who might take this on. There's not a lot of companies who can pay that. You're back.
I was moving the mouse trying to click a tab and I closed the browser. Sorry.
It happened to me earlier.
Nice. Hey, but you know what? Well, now we put the churches next to each other. Like this is not.
They can high five each other.
Yes. And so, yeah, I don't know. This is interesting to see what potentially would happen there. Because here's the thing: EA already has the deal. They had that Disney for the Star Wars IP. So I don't know. Like, you take games like Mortal Kombat, like Batman, things like that are, I don't know if you want to put those in EA's hands. Like they've already, Activision the same way. Like they're going to spend $4 billion on something, but they just laid off a whole bunch of people.
EA is just going to make you buy 1 million expansions, just like with Sims.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Do we need to talk about what happened to your Sims?
It's a good thing I'm not a parent. That's what The Sims have taught me.
So I don't know. We're going to keep an eye on this story for sure because there's a lot of great games under Warner Brothers, and the ability for that is, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that all turns out. So other than that, there's not been a whole lot in the news. Anything else that you guys want to chat about news-wise that I missed? Is there anything else gaming-wise, movie-wise?
I had something earlier, but I forgot about it. Now all I have in my head is the "You're Welcome" song from Moana.
New Star Wars game announcement.
True.
Oh.
From EA. So Monday, June 15th, EA will release a trailer for Star Wars Squadrons. It sounds like a pod racing game.
No, it does not.
So, according to sources familiar with the game's production, Star Wars Squadrons is a game about piloting ships in head-to-head battles. It features a single-player campaign, but the main focus on Squadrons is the multiplayer. The idea is to get players fighting against each other in team battles along featuring iconic Star Wars vessels. Hit consoles and PC this fall.
So a new Rogue Squadron.
Yeah. So
I want some X-Wing Alliance.
that could be fun.
Mm-hmm.
A-Wings.
I think all I want.
I'll have to get out my Logitech Wingman Interceptor again.
Oh, jeez. So yeah, they're talking about they're trying to kind of capitalize on how the commercial success of Star Wars games like Fallen Order, which I didn't realize Fallen Order sold 10 million copies. Like that is not a small number for a video game. So
It's not Fallen anymore.
yeah. So they will be the trailer on Monday. And then there is an EA event, a virtual event, EA Play Live next weekend on June 18th. Most people are theorizing we will see some gameplay on the 18th. So that could be fun. Like an old school, like when you think like dogfighting games, like I go to Ace Fighter from like way back in the day.
We haven't had anything recent, so it'd be good to bring that genre back.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So
Gun video game.
it's the what?
I'm still mad at the Top Gun video game.
You're still mad at the Top Gun video? Why are you
The
mad
NES
at
one?
Yeah.
The
'Cause
first or the second one?
the first.
It's
They
because of the
really-
landing, wasn't it?
Look at it, yeah. Because of the landing. I always
Yep.
shot the landing.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me that some of these things, like, they stick with us for so long.
Back
Like,
to the Future sucked.
see, here,
As a
What-
terrible, terrible NES game.
what I did. So I'm going to go back further, and we'll close on this. So, worst video game ever made, widely considered the ET game for the Atari.
Mhm.
Have you ever played this game?
No.
All
No,
right.
because I tried to play it one time and it wouldn't play. So when I took it out and looked at it, I was, going to do that. A bunch of sand fell out of it.
Because you got it out of the pile,
Right.
out of the landfill. So there's a lot of flaws in the ET arcade, in the ET 2600 game, like places where you get stuck in pits and you literally cannot get out. Like you have to reset the game. And so, but the thing is, like as a kid playing an Atari 2600, like I love Defender and I love Yar's Revenge. Like I would play those games all the time. But I just thought I was terrible at ET. But it wasn't. But it wasn't me. It was the game. I didn't learn this until I was like 25. So, but
Vindication.
I'm not terrible at this game. So yeah, it is a on an emulator side. If you've never played some of those things, you should go play some of that as well. So it is. Yes, I need the whole Vindication GIF. I need to load a lot of those in here. It's to go to, so we have more GIFs for stuff. All right. Well, I don't. I think that's pretty much all I got for this week. Anything? That has been video games. More video games.
Earth 2 Church is wearing the exact same outfit from the picture I drew.
I am. Yes, literally the same hat and shirt.
Sam, you're about to be our first ban.
Jeff.
If Sam goes, I go. I'm just here to read his comments.
The great debate.
That's true. The great
Sam,
debate.
how does Sam pronounce it?
Jiff.
Jiff.
Jeff?
That's how you and I both pronounce it as Jiff.
It is Jiff. Like
GIF.
giraffe or Jen.
I used to say GIF because graphical GIF.
Is GIF.
But
Yeah.
when the creator came out and said it's GIF,
It is Jiff.
I have to defer.
He's wrong.
Look at the strong Jiff.
The guy who invented the term.
Yes.
like Jeff or geography. No,
It's like Jen.
Jen. Yeah, like Jen.
Same word. It was like Jen.
I got to go with GIF, sadly.
I'm going with GIF.
I want to go with GIF.
I'm going with GIF.
Just have it.
I'm staying on this island. I'm going with GIF. And that's it.
Nick, you may be the swing vote here. Oh, wait. No, you're not. We went.
There's three of us.
Yeah, you guys win.
He doesn't care.
All right, gang. Let's get out of here. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Everybody, like I said, stay safe out there with, everything. So I'm Cav. That's Nick. Sorry, I was looking at Church, and it took me a second. Church.
Be safe. Be kind, guys.
Earth 2 Church. And Hannah.
I'm not evil.
Yes.
See you guys. Bye-bye.